Happy families are all alike. Each unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. Yeah, you heard that right. These are the beginning lines of what is, by common consent, known as the greatest work of literature in the entire world, Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. Yes, it is true that this is a contested concept. Greatness, as I told elsewhere, also has come under severe strain in recent years, especially due to canons, criticism, cultural studies, post-colonial studies, etc., etc. We found the main canon to be Eurocentric. However, you know, there has to be some kind of, foundation on which things are built. Personally, people in English literature, I mean in English studies, are more comfortable with Shakespeare, you know, in evading the tag of the greatest in the world, and especially Shakespeare's four great tragedies. Of that, again, the greatest is King Lear. We have similar shlokas in the Indian tradition. There is a shloka which says that the play or say drama, there's a difference between the two. Generally, we mean the text by play, and drama is when it is acted out, but earlier it was used interchangeably. These days, the distinction is slightly prominent. Anyway, it is said that of all forms of literature, drama is the best, just as Aristotle says so. He says tragedy, but then tragedy is drama. So in Indian poetics also there is a shloka, and then of all plays Shakuntala. So interestingly, its Sanskrit poetics is not placing the Ramayana or the Mahabharata as the greatest literary piece, but Shakuntala, which is basically a very minuscule part of the Mahabharata, but the origin of the Mahabharata. Shakuntala's son Bharata is actually the founder of this Bharat dynasty from which the Mahabharata happens. So, Kavyeshu Natakang Ramyang Natakeshu Shakuntala. That of all forms of literature, the drama is the most pleasing, and of all plays, it is Shakuntala. Even Goethe agreed with it. He found Shakuntala to be far better than even Shakespeare, with due respect to Edward Said and Orientalism. Anyway, so similarly, and now I'm coming back to the Western Front. Russia, is a kind of it's an in-between place, though it is in Europe, but it is also in Asia. Part of it was in Asia, so cultural milieu. It's a kind of a mixed cultural milieu, but more prominently European. But basic human sentiments are same everywhere. With again due respect to critical theory and post-structuralism, I'm not universalizing, but we eat, drink, fall in love. I don't drink in that sense. Fall in love, procreate, all these things are common, though there are nuances. So then, love is one of the most primal passions, and all that, you know, one great obstacle to freedom of love is the societal rules of marriage. It is, popularly said, it was said in our student life that love could be the dawn of marriage, but marriage is the sunset of love. And Barnard Shaw is said to have said that it is most unwise for two people in love to marry each other because that kills love. Anyway, so then adultery, real love, it is said. It is there in the Vaishnava Padavali tradition also and many other things. And as you know, in pre-colonial India, the rigidity of, these relationships are not so much there. It was very fluid, though patriarchal, but within that, at least polygamy, if not polyandry, was widely practiced, so it was not looked down in that sense by and large. There are exceptions also. Quotes are there in the books that you should not do this or should not do that. But if you think that what happened in India is adequately represented in Manu Samhita or entire India acted as Manu Samhita, then I must say that you have what Edward Said calls a textual attitude. That to decide by reading a text of a region, especially that each and everything that happened like this. Anyway, Anna Karenina is about adultery at multiple levels. But then it is again it is again an essentialism. To say that Anna Karenina is about adultery is also a stupid comment. I admonish myself. This is about humanity itself. Adultery is one of the prime themes that connects the thing, but the entire canvas of human life has been represented. And in that, I would say, though I love Shakespeare, Tolstoy is far greater than Shakespeare in treatment of the depth and variety of human passion. In language, Shakespeare is far greater, and in expression. Of course, I don't know the Russian language. Had I read Anna Karenina in the original, then I don't know, my reactions would have changed. But plot and theme wise, this is the novel, this is in the selfie mode. Not that this is one of the versions, it's huge, this Penguin Classics, New Penguin. Mine one is around 840 pages. So, Anna Karenina is an aristocratic lady of Russia, and then she travels all the way from St. Petersburg to Moscow to save the marriage of her brother there, who has been discovered by his wife, the brother's wife, to have been in love with the governess or housemaid kind of thing. Translations vary slightly of that house, and this marriage is about to fall apart. She settles it successfully. Interestingly, in her journey, Anna Karenina, on the way, Anna Karenina is a married lady, by the way. She has a cold marriage. The husband is not reciprocating. And one child also is there actually from marriage. Now, in the course of her traveling to save her brother's marriage, in the station, she meets a gallant army officer, and then things start there. They fall in love with each other. While see the irony of the human condition, she is saving her brother from adultery, but she herself is caught in the same thing. I'm not being judgmental, it's perfectly fine with me. But the then Russian society, scandalized, 1874 is the setting. So the entire novel gives that story, and there are many stories within the stories. So human life as a whole comes to force. And then, due to that, she finally reveals it before her husband also. They change places to give freedom to their love or give full free expression to their love. And then, after a lot of turmoil, it's a tragedy. Finally, she throws herself in front of a train and dies, Anna Karenina. It reminds me of Cordelia's death, but it's much more poignant because Cordelia died for a fatherly love, in a way. But in human sympathy, I think if we are not hypocrite, all will admit that though parents give us birth, this conjugal love or love coming out of amorous affiliation are way stronger than parental love. And then the conundrum is this, because this conjugal love actually leads to parenthood. That is why it is more important. Those sciences intervened and contraceptives are there. So that is Anna Karenina. But I have just told you the story. This is only very, very small tip, I should say, of the iceberg. As I said, Russian society, and then I will be a Dr. Johnsonian here. Entire human society is present. You will also find yourselves, I'm sure, if you read. Yes, technological gadgets would be different. You won't meet computers or laptops within the novel, but some human emotions. And then, of course, technology, I said it on purpose because one of the things that Tolstoy was showing was also the intrusion of technology into human life. The train had started. A train becomes a dominant, trope as well as a metaphor in the entire novel. And remember, everything happens, the prime things due to her train travel, Anna Karenina's, because the novel is named after her, not her brother's adultery. And finally, she throws herself and kill herself, by in front of a train, by throwing herself in front of a train. So machine killing human. Right? So that's why we often say Tolstoy is a prophet. Even Gandhi's, people may not admit today, satyagraha, passive resistance, whatever, it did not come from Gita or Jain thing. No matter how much ever we try to assert, that is purely from Tolstoy. So we should read more and more of Tolstoy. Though Mikhail Bakhtin finds Dostoevsky to be a better writer than Tolstoy, I would politely disagree because literature is not science, not chemistry, And finally, what matters is what you find convincing. Because Bakhtin also was talking from a particularly Marxist or proto-Marxist agenda. This Tolstoy was also a socialist. Anyway, for telling it this thing about Bakhtinians and Marxists will like to kill me, possibly. But it's a fact. I can't help hide it. So it was not. Bakhtin did some great things, but it's not that his thing was totally neutral. Yes, nothing can be totally neutral, but it is one thing to be relatively neutral and then another thing to be biased by some ideology. Bakhtin's dialogic imagination is colored by Marxist thoughts. And that is why he found Dostoevsky more dialogic than Tolstoy. But it need not be your finding. So again, let's go back to Anna Karenina. As I always say, I will not tell you the story. This is a bad thing. There are my channel's videos are not designed to incite you to take the text and read. And this is also not in English literature as such, but it has been a major influence on English literature. Let me also tell you that William Faulkner, the great American novelist, again great, but Faulkner is great. Faulkner, American literature, but by extension English literature, he was asked once to name three greatest novels of the world. Do you know what is said? Anna Karenina, Anna Karenina, Anna Karenina. So there is only one great novel according to Faulkner, and possibly I would also agree 80-90%. But I would have my King Lear, Othello, and Hamlet. Not Macbeth so much along with that. These four are in a way my canon so far as narrative things are secular narratives are concerned. Divine Comedy or Paradise Lost are a bit a little a class apart. Thank you so much. So that was the greatest text of world literature.